It's Tuesday, June 14th and 7 p.m., a little after 7 p.m. at 7:03, and you're here with us at the Reservoir Hill Association General Membership Meeting. Welcome everyone, welcome neighbors. Thank you for being here tonight. As usual, we're going to start off the evening with our board reports, where you'll hear about the progress that we've made as an organization over the last month. We'll then move into a discussion section where we'll be talking about the garden and home tour. And then we'll also be talking and voting on EV chargers in the neighborhood and EV charger locations. We'll end the evening with some announcements about what's going on in the neighborhood and the city at large. So we'll begin with our board reports. I wanted to start off the evening with a big round of applause to everyone in the organization, including everyone on this call that helped write our bylaws, the advisory committee, the steering committee, and founding members of the organization. We have officially had word from the IRS that we are a 501c3. We're an official nonprofit. This means so much to us. It has literally been a 2-year effort to get here. And so I would be remiss to not take time to just thank everyone that got us to this moment. It really is going to help reduce a lot of stress for folks on the board who have been not only donating their time, but also their money towards the running of the organization. Now that we're a nonprofit, we get a lot of discounts. And then on top of that, we will also be able to take donations and ensure that those who donate to the organization can get be seen as a tax donors through the federal government. So that's something that you can write off on your taxes. So it really puts us in a different place as an organization, but it didn't happen overnight. It's not just a form. It was those days and days and really months that were led by Kim Forsyth and leading us through writing our bylaws, to editing those bylaws, to voting on them, Jerika and Kim incorporating us as an organization, and then now Chet and myself and others who helped fill out applications to the state and to the federal government in order to have this recognition. So I just wanted to take time to really celebrate and applaud that effort and what it means for our community. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask, but it's just such wonderful news. I'm very happy. Okay, so moving forward, I also want to announce that we have a new marketing and communications chair, Daryl McLean. Daryl is currently in Mobile, Alabama, and his internet is unstable, so he might not be able to do a full report, but this is 100% his wheelhouse. He does this work professionally, and you will see some changes with our marketing and communication that will really reflect his expertise. And then also, you're very familiar with Janae McLean, who will be taking on the events committee, and you've been working with her closely, events committee members. So she does not really need an introduction, but I want to welcome our two new chairs who are moving around the board to really pick up the work there. So thank you to Janae and thank you to Daryl. Jerika, passing it on to you. Did you have anything you wanted to share with the group? I don't know if Jerika. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Darnita is not on the call right now because she's at a swim meet with her daughter. But a couple of updates is that she has been working on getting our attendance records up to speed so that we can hold the 2 votes that we were supposed to hold last month. As you know, having voting rights within the membership means attending a certain percentage of meetings. And so in order for us to see who is able to vote in our elections and other decisions, we have to have a list of those attendees. So she's working on that. And as usual, the videos from last month's meeting are up, as well as last month's meeting minutes, I believe. I'm not sure. maybe Melda, can you confirm whether or not they're up yet?
Yeah, I uploaded the video. I'm sorry, I'm still working on the meeting minutes, but I should have those done pretty soon.
Okay, thank you, Melda, who's our webmaster. And I think I saw Jarika kind of appear for a second there. Okay, no, all right, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Charles Myers, I'm so used to calling him Chet, has been super busy over the last month. So I'm gonna read his updates because he could not make it tonight. But again, RHA is officially a 501c3 nonprofit. Our SECU account is officially open. Our membership fee is up for a vote of $12. And like I said, we're trying to get our attendance records up to speed so that we can hold that vote officially. Chet and I have worked over the last 2 weeks on writing the official financial policy for the organization, which creates serious checks and balance to make sure there's no financial impropriety, that no transaction is overseen by a single person. We really think it's really important to avoid anything that can affect the organization. So that will be something that we will be sharing with the general membership, but the board has to read through it first and approve that, and then we'll have it sent to you all so you can look over it and make sure it's in alignment with what you think the organization should be doing. And finally, last but not least, Chet has set up our PayPal account so that we can accept donations. If you are planning to pay your membership dues that way, just make sure that you note that's what you're doing. Obviously, we first need to vote in the fee officially before we start accepting membership dues. But Chet wanted to show off the QR code that he made. That's pretty fancy. So we can start collecting donations moving forward. Rolando is, this is so funny. I don't know what's in the chart right now, but everyone is like occupied with other things. Rolando's here, but he is currently working on some serious repair to his home and is kind of occupied dealing with that in the moment. He's probably even on camera working on pipes. But one thing that we wanted to share with you is that he has a meeting set up with the new representative from CHAP for the Upper Utah Madison. And I think, Arlen, you can probably talk a little bit more on this because I know that you'll also be at the meeting, but this is a really big deal. It's a reset to that relationship between this side of Reservoir Hill and CHAP. And he's been working really hard on building that relationship with Lauren. I forgot the end of her name. It begins with an S. And she seems to be incredibly responsive. So Arlen, both Arlen and Rolando, thank you. Shizik, thank you, Melda. Lauren Shizik. I know that Arlen and Arlen in his capacity as the president of Upper Utah Madison Neighborhood Association and Rolando have been working really hard on trying to ensure a stronger relationship with CHAP moving forward. So that's something that he has accomplished and he's going to be continuing through this month. Lauren, can you give me a break from talking? I'm sure.
I'm not talking to anybody, I'm listening to you. I'll give you a break. You need to stop. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm here. So my slide references the work I've been obviously doing. RHA and the partnership with Dorothy Heights Elementary School has been amazing. Last week, the kids made their first harvest, and they understand that plants only live a certain length of time. And they were surprised to see the little seedlings turn into food in under 6 weeks. They couldn't believe it. It's like, we can eat it now? I was like, yeah, you can eat it now. And then I surprised them with, now you get to grow a different type of plant that is more heat tolerant, like the tomatoes and the cucumbers. And so it's been very educational for all of us. The Green Committee had a very successful first conservation conversation with the community. It was a compost event that was hosted by me, but I was supported by the Department of Public Works, University of Maryland Extensions, RHA, and believe it or not, people from the Lenox Street Garden really turned out. And the marketing got a little messy, and last minute, Daryl, Super Daryl, made this flyer and just zoom, 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 posted on poles in the neighborhood, on fences. The turnout was amazing. The event was amazing. I was grateful. I was grateful for the turnout, and I was grateful for the reception that we got as a community organization, the recognition that we're getting. Our next community talk is June 26th. And Keandra, we have to change who killed the Chesapeake Bay to who destroyed it, because it's not really dead. And my mentor jacked me up about that. So I can't put that out in the public, like who killed the Chesapeake Bay, it's who destroyed it. Okay, so on the Eventbrite, that's already out there, but moving forward, any printout, any literature we have going out further, it has to say who destroyed the Chesapeake Bay. And that'll take place in German Park on the 26th of June, last Sunday of the month at 1 p.m. So I'm prepared. I already have my little demonstration ready. Department of Public Works will not be in town that weekend, but they have promised to support me in the exact same way again. So I would meet with them the Friday prior to our event, and I'll get another compost bin, more bags, more magnets, more handouts. And I'm not going to focus on anything composting, but I will add to the Baywise segment the part that composting didn't get in terms of reuse, reduce, and recycling. So compost is strictly about making compost, using it, and why it was beneficial. Now we got to talk about what we do with the stuff that's not compostable. So it's a two-part talk. It's interrelated. So I'm trying to make all my talks be relevant to a previous talk or something currently going on, actively going on. I want each talk to be just an educational forum for the community to look forward to coming out and look forward to getting the information and meeting new people, networking. That's what this is for, networking. So, you know, there is an event, a pop-up shop, this is off topic, on this Saturday on Utah, 1500 block of Utah. So I don't know if we want to have the literature down that far, because I'm going to be there. My son, Ben's, so he's going to have a table. I can take literature because it's, you know, I don't know. It's, I don't know if it's a Juneteenth celebration or whatever, but it's a really a pop-up event and people will be bending food trucks and things like that. I didn't know if RHA knows. I know because my son will be participating. But yeah, that's going to happen this Saturday. So if you want to get me some literature, I can have it on our table. I can talk about RHA while I'm just hanging out, having a good time.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. And I put, even though the event name is slightly changed, I put the Eventbrite link if you wanted to sign up for that event in the chat.
So that Eventbrite link that I got didn't match our event. It was, let me look it up because there's something about another organization. So I don't know, did it get mixed up? Because that particular Eventbrite did not talk about our event, the one I got today from, I think it was you, Keandra. Let's see.
Well, if you click the link in the chat, it should be the right event.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Ms. Smelta put the link in the chat already.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me find out how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, click on that. Oh, no, that's a workshop series. Oh, yeah, that is. Okay. Let's see what comes up. Oh.
Okay.
Well, I know I'm going to navigate and click on it, and I'll be in attendance, Ms. Lauren. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I see it. This is the correct one. However, the link you sent me, I copied and pasted my Facebook page, but it opened up to somebody else's, so I took it down. So okay. I don't know what that glitch was, but thank you. This is the correct one. Yeah, I will register. I'll be there.
Yay.
Thank you, Janae, coming. Yes.
Thank you.
My new best friend.
Yeah.
We got plants in common.
Yes, absolutely.
We got a
Absolutely.
lot of
And
plant talking to do.
we absolutely do have to catch up quite a bit on plants. And I love following Miss Lauren, and I also hate following Miss Lauren because of all the energy, all the energy and enthusiasm that she has. So hopefully I can do my part to give a good update on what's going on with the events committee. So thank you so much for that welcome, Keandra. So we have been working on quite a few things, and including the virtual home and garden tour. So this is something new for RHA, which is pretty much the theme for this year. So with the home and garden tour, it allows for a COVID-friendly opportunity to take a peek behind some of the lovely architecture that we have and some of the beautiful gardens that we have hidden behind some of our gates and fences. And I'm having an amazing time collecting the content. So we had our meeting and we talked about the budget request, which is pretty minimal. And we have a goal of targeting and collecting and hosting 30 virtual tours. And it will end with 3-hour Zoom programming. So these tours will be displayed over a week-long period, and the end will be a 3-hour Zoom programming. So we talked about that on our last meeting. We talked about the potential for pricing for our access/admission tickets, as well as, a pricing for a raffle ticket that will be included in the tour. We are still in the process of collecting content, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the program. Our next event is our movie night that we have been working on. And this, we have a partnership with several community organizations, and In Life has done pretty much the heavy lifting for us and really given us a lovely blueprint for how to move movie night forward should we decide to continue on with this lovely event. We also been working with Friends of German Park and St. Francis Neighborhood Community. So we have a lot of groups that we've been working with, and we outlined that in our last meeting. The location, German Park, theme, glow in the dark, format, where we were talking about a double feature, thinking about maybe looking at some of these really fun cartoons for a little bit of time and engaging the kiddies in activities, and then moving on to a movie feature. TBD, hopefully you all will give me some feedback to identify which movie we want to show on movie night a little bit later on in the process. We've also talked about soundscape in the garden, on the greens rather. The name keeps fluctuating and changing. Someone needs to stop me and settle in on a name. But nonetheless, that activity is pending. And Ms. Lauren has been very instrumental, as well as Rolando, in helping me start putting some of the pieces together for actually all of these different events. So a big thank you to Nelda, Rolando, and just everyone that has given me guidance, as well as allowed me to photograph some of their homes as we're trying to put together all of these different things. So that is a quick update from the events committee. If you have questions, there'll be another opportunity for us to chat and dialogue a little bit later on in the program. But I'm going to turn it back over to you, Keandra, and hopefully I was within my time period this time.
I think we're all running a little bit over, but that's okay. We're just going to try to I just want to make sure that we get to all of our content because we have a lot of wonderful things to discuss. Daryl, how's your internet connection going?
All right, I think I'm moving. So yeah, you all were glitchy a couple of times. To start, we've crafted a monthly newsletter template. Our first newsletter with the new template went out this month. Moving forward, the newsletter will go out on when Keandra, help me.
The first Tuesday of the month.
First Tuesday of the month. So we're working on a calendar with the deadlines of the information that we need from people. And then once we've completed that calendar, which we will have in our Thursday meeting, then we will make that calendar available. That way, you know that in order for us to send out the weekly reminder, in order for us to send out the information for you, that this is our time period that we need to get, this is the deadline for us getting the information, so that it can be displayed the way you wanted it, the way you want it displayed, and to maximize the message, which maximizes the reach. After that, we've crafted our weekly reminder updates. They need a little bit of tweaking. I'm going to change a couple of images, and then those weekly reminders will go out via MailChimp and social media. Following the weekly reminder, we crafted a temporary RHA logo, simple circle logo, and the committee hasn't submitted it or voted it official or anything, but for purposes of me getting up to speed and getting the messaging out, we are utilizing this logo. It is unofficial, but we are utilizing this logo. I spoke about the calendar already, and then social media accounts. We are starting to utilize the social media accounts. What we will do when the committee meets is to discuss what messaging that we want to send out, frequency. For example, I got the newsletter from a congressperson or council person, and in it they may have 6 or 7, like this last one. There are 4 or 5 other events occurring tonight, Tuesday, June 14th. You know, so so then we have to add, you know, do we advertise all of those? Do we advertise some of those? Do we, do we write our stuff in big letters for our meeting today and then a little small, kidding. But so we're going to have to discuss our procedure around that, because we do get a lot of information. And then also we'll have to figure hierarchy, because a grant for $5,000 for the community from the Department of Public Works. My computer says my internet is unstable. Am I unstable?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's starting to break up.
So I will leave you with that, and we will have our meeting, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Daryl. Okay, and Arlen.
Good evening, everyone. There's a few things going on, as you mentioned earlier, Keandra. Rolando and I have been working with Lauren. We actually have a walkthrough scheduled for June 22nd from 1 to 3. Rolando and I will be exchanging problematic or possibly issues related to CHAP along the historical corridors on the west side of Reservoir Hill, which will be Madison and Utah Place. He's canvassing Utah Place, I'm canvassing Madison. I'm sure Rolando already has everything done because he's out there almost every day canvassing the neighborhood. But we're going to meet on the 16th to exchange those and modify them. And then Lauren is actually on vacation, so she hasn't confirmed the date. That's why you see it's a tentative date there for the 22nd. But that was one of the dates that she did submit. Back to the top, we have 825 Druid Park Lake Drive, that presentation. That's tomorrow. Normally we have the Upper Utah Madison Neighborhood Association meeting at that time period, but we're going to defer that until July, the Upper Utah Madison meeting, so that it can be all hands on deck for the presentation tomorrow. The Madison White Lot Park Nature Sacred Partnership is still going forward. Nature Sacred will be meeting with the Parks and Rec to actually show them the finalized project, the proposal, to get their support, maybe some funds, and then we'll be able to move forward with fundraising and actually starting phase 1 of that project. The group, the transitional housing, the reason that 311 is there is that I want you to know that 311 actually works. I can't really say what's going on with that, but apparently there has been an appraiser at the 731 property, so there's hope that maybe they will be selling that property. We don't know yet, and if that's the case, then if you make enough noise, then people will listen. The next one is the EV chargers. I believe we do have a representative from the city here tonight, so I'm going to defer that. And as far as the Airtable property updates, that's still pending. Give me a little more time on that, and we'll work on that. And that is pertaining to trying to find out which properties are vacant, which properties are in risk of collapse as far as roofing and things of that nature, and which properties are not properly boarded up if they are indeed empty. And that should just about cover it for me.
Thank you, Arlen. Okay, I don't know if Officer Walker is here tonight. I did see Officer Gillespie here.
Yes, hello everyone, I'm here.
Hi.
Hello everyone. Like I said, I'm gonna go over the comparisons from this year to this time last year, and give you some information about what the detectives are doing with with the burglaries and the shootings investigations. We had 1 homicide this year compared to 0 last year. We had 4 shootings compared to 1. We had no rapes to report. We had 13 robberies compared to 10. We had 22 aggravated assaults compared to 25. We had 24 burglaries compared to 14. Larcenies are 17 compared to 27 from last year. And auto thefts are even with 10. And 0 arsons compared to 2 of last year. With the shootings, I talked to the detectives, and about 40% of the shootings that happen in Reservoir Hill, they either have suspects or they're actually in the process of working with the state's attorney's office to make this cases stronger, so they can get a prosecution out of the case. And with the burglaries in Reservoir Hill leads the district with the burglaries. And it's not because of, the residents, it's because of the vacant homes are being rehabbed. A lot of them are getting broken into, and, they're still in the tools or the copper pipes. So today, I did some burglary follow-ups in the neighborhood, trying to see if I can talk to the contractors to see if they can, secure the properties a little bit better, or maybe like installing camera systems in the vacant properties, so at least we can catch a suspect, or, somebody's Ring camera can, locate a suspect or something like that, so we can, make an arrest out of it. But other than that, if anyone has any questions for me.
Any questions for Officer Gillespie? feel free to raise your hand if you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Go ahead.
It's Jerika.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry, Officer Gillespie, thank you for that information. And sorry what I couldn't get on. I'm having difficulties with my phone, but I'm good now. And you're right about the cameras. And the reason why I say that, because I am renovating the properties, not in the Reservoir Hill areas, in the Upton area, Sandtown, Winchester area, and some people say it's Upton, so it depends on what side of the street you're on. And I did put in a ring, I'm, like I said, doing a total rehab. I did put up a ring camera, and I was able to catch somebody, get involved around there, and actually caught the guy like really coming out of the property. The problem I'm having is that the guy didn't take it seriously, because his next word was like, just trespassing. So it's new to me. We as citizens have to warn about that, because I literally caught him actually inside of my home that's being renovated. I was able to stop him from probably stealing anything, and because he had not actually stolen anything, because I caught him in the act, you know, his first words was out of his mouth. It's like, I'm just trespassing. Needless to say, it did not go very well, but I just handled it myself. But as a concerned citizen, we shouldn't have to do that. But again, like you said, I did have a camera. It does work. You can catch these people in the act, but once you catch them, this the attitudes they have about entering into your homes.
Yes, ma'am. I was still encourage you to, you know, to call 911 and, you know, ask for a supervisor to come out if the officer doesn't, you know, handle the call properly or the way you feel like he should to, or he or she should. Because it's like I said, the burglaries is a major problem throughout, you know, the city, especially with the houses that's being rehabbed. You know, like it's a house. I'm not sure if anyone knows the owner of 2424 Linden. Like they just broke in there and just stole all the copper wiring out of his house, and the copper wiring wasn't even put up yet. They were just still in a bundle waiting to be installed. So, like I said, just like I said, just try to get the rehab guys to maybe, like, instead of using nails, use screws. Screw the boards in the windows or the back door, and like take their tools with them. And if they have to leave the tools with at the location, make sure they get the serial numbers. So just in case something turns up at the pawn shop, then we can know. Whereas a pawn shop unit will go out and locate the property also.
Okay, if there are no other comments, thank you, Officer Gillespie.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're a bit behind, so I'm trying to power through to our discussion section. Janae, I think it's off to you to talk about the garden and home tour. So I'm going to make you the host.
Oh, I am not the host. Someone else is the host.
Do you have
All right.
Okay.
I am now the host. Superb. Okay. Can you see my full screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, superb. Hi, so I mentioned earlier about the virtual home and garden tour. And so we have about 9 tours built right now, and we are targeting a goal of 30. So we have a call for content. And so as I mentioned before, the launch date for the virtual home and garden tour website is going to be July 17th through 23rd. So in order for us to be able to meet our goal, I'm tossing it out to you all to consider putting your space on our virtual space. And it doesn't matter if it's just one room we can do that. If it's, your outdoor living space, we can feature that. And we have a lot of opportunity to really showcase our neighborhood. So having said that, I wanted to give you a quick peek of what the tour could look like, because maybe, you need to conceptualize it a little. And so this is just a brief example of what it could look like. And hopefully the two programs play nicely together. And they do not. Yep. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Now
awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. So this is our space. And so this is, a 360 view of what we're putting onto the Home and Garden Tour. As I've mentioned before, we can feature certain things like dropping in a little bit of information. So I'm shouting out some of our local businesses within our tour, as well as Mint from Melda and Rolando's Garden. The program will allow you to walk through the space or virtually walk through the space. So again, I can call out certain things that I find to be interesting about our house. And then, you can do this and click through it on your own. We can also feature information. So we have a little intake survey that allows people to share a little bit about them. We have the photo album. So if you have before and after pictures, we can share some of those pictures as well. And so it gives the audience just an opportunity to get a flavor for what's happening and how we've really created a home space for the buildings and our addresses throughout the neighborhood. So again, please consider adding in your content to allow us to get to our goal of 30 spaces within the Home and Garden Tour. So switching gears, I'll also need your assistance around the movie night that we're having August the 5th. So if you have your phone and you can scan this QR code, and this QR code is going to stay live until Thursday. So if you can just grab it or snap a picture, you can access this survey one of two ways, either by scanning this QR code or by going to slido.com and typing in that code. And so the question that we're posing is, which movie should we show? So I had a panel, a focus group of less than 10-year-olds that have given me some suggestions that are added onto there. But, I noted the time, the rating of the movie, and I did not put anything about the movie. But, you have a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be done during this space. And then when we have our next social events meeting, we can decide which movie we're going to feature. So as I mentioned before, we want to have a couple of cartoons ahead of time to engage our kiddies. And then we'll also have food trucks and more things, but we'll talk about that as the date gets closer. But we want to have a feature afterwards, but we don't want to stay out too late. So that's where we're asking for your input. So I thank you in advance. And that is all for me. And Keandra, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Janae. And now I really hope you all vote. And I'm so excited for those events. That online tour, it looks amazing. I hope everyone is really excited about how we're transitioning in response to COVID and in thinking of what the future of the Garden and Home Tour will be moving forward. But without further ado, I wanted to make sure that we had enough time to have our full presentation about the EV chargers, and Chris Massage is here from the Baltimore City Parking Authority. Sorry.
When you're creating a post, click on down below where it says add to your post and more, and you'll see an option for add file.
Jean, are you talking to us?
Okay, so I was trying to add a photo probably.
Oh,
thinking that
yeah.
that little
Okay.
icon.
I'm gonna mute him. Okay. Technology. So we have Chris Massage from the Baltimore City Parking Authority here to share a presentation on the proposed EV chargers. Chris has been here before. She's also met with our Planning and Development Committee several times. So this is already in response to several proposals for EV charging stations in the neighborhood. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to you, Chris. You do have a presentation.
I do. Yeah.
And I will give you the right access so that you can do that. Let's see, I think I have to reclaim host and then give it to you. Okay. Did you have access now?
I believe
Share screen.
What happened there? Share screen. Okay, yes, it looks like I do. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Keandra. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you so much for letting me present here again at RHA and for letting me hear all the wonderful things that are happening in this neighborhood. Okay, again, my name is Chris Massage. I'm from the Parking Authority. I'm also joined by my colleague, Tim Bunstetten is here as well. We're here to talk to you about EV chargers. Let's see. Oh, this doesn't work right. Okay, there we go. So for people who haven't heard the presentation before, I'll try to be brief in case maybe many of you have already. We're here tonight because City Council passed a bill in 2020 to grant a franchise to Baltimore Gas and Electric to install, operate, and maintain publicly available electric vehicle chargers in Baltimore City, particularly in parks or on city right-of-way. This was an attempt by City Council, a recognition in effect that electric vehicles are going to become more and more popular. You know, the large auto manufacturers in this country are talking about, you know, in less than 10 years, about 50% of vehicles available for sale will be electric. You know, this is already happening in Europe. It's happening in this country already. And right now, the infrastructure to charge electric vehicles is the public infrastructure for electric vehicles is pretty much concentrated in the downtown area. And so this council bill was an attempt to like make more infrastructure available outside of the downtown area and push it out into the neighborhoods. Because City Council was involved, a number of city agencies are involved in this process to look at the requests that are made by the public. And just an aside, anyone in Baltimore City can make a request for a location for an public EV charger. You can do that on the 311 app, on the 311 website, or also the Parking Authority has an electric vehicle page. And at the bottom of that page is a form you can fill out to request a publicly accessible EV charger. So city agencies are involved in vetting these sites that have been requested to make sure that they're publicly accessible, that they're safe, that there's limited impact on neighborhood parking. And in particular, currently we're not citing any EV chargers directly in front of residential buildings for that reason. We have to make sure that there's the required electrical infrastructure. Turns out that, you know, just having streetlights on your street doesn't mean that you can have an EV charger right in that area. There has to be a particular configuration of electricity to power those chargers. And then the Baltimore City Parks and Rec is also involved to make sure that there's limited impact on park property and trees. So Reservoir Hill, a resident of this neighborhood requested EV chargers a few months back. And so we took a look at this area. There's a high population density in the area. There's no public EV chargers currently in the neighborhood. And there are a substantial number of EVs already registered in this zip code. So it looks like it could be a good candidate for public EV chargers. This is some context. This is a current plug share map showing where there are existing EV chargers. If you do have an EV, you probably are very familiar with this kind of map. This is how you find your chargers if you're looking. There are existing ones up in the park, of course, by the conservatory. There's a new one up by the zoo. Here's kind of the concentration I was talking about kind of within MLK. The downtown area starts to get a little more more density of EV chargers down there. Here's a new one at the State Center on Mason Street. I'm double checking that this is publicly accessible, but that's my understanding currently, that anyone can use those chargers that are in that lot at State Center. And there will be a new one coming at Penn Avenue Market in the next couple of months that's underway. Okay, a little bit of context here in terms of the neighborhood, that there are so many row homes, as you all are familiar with. This is a map that shows land use. These are all row homes, these gray rectangles. And what's relevant here is that currently the most common way that people charge electric vehicles is using their home, charging them at night. If you have a garage or a parking pad, you can easily plug in your electric vehicle. Anytime you buy an electric vehicle, it comes with a cord that you can just plug into a regular outlet in your home. You can't do it with an extension cord out your window, but you can do it in a garage or, a parking pad situation. So if you live in a row home and you don't have a garage or a parking pad, you don't have that ability to charge overnight like that. That's not convenient. So you may be reliant on a publicly accessible EV charger. The initial request that we got for electric vehicle chargers in Reservoir Hill was at 2001 Park Avenue at the old Norwegian Sailors Home site. Turns out that didn't work out infrastructure-wise. There's not electricity there to make that happen. And also, obviously, that's under potential redevelopment soon. So we looked elsewhere, though, in the neighborhood, again, because this neighborhood looks like a good fit. And we did find a couple areas along Park Avenue, kind of here in the northeast corner of the neighborhood, along the grassy median. We could add some chargers on either side here or down here, or down here closer to Whitelock Street. And we brought this proposal because this is viable with electricity to Councilman Torrance. He was unopposed, but he said, please reach out to the community, which we've done. And we received a lot of different feedback from this process. We presented at the RHIC meeting. There was actually a survey done by RHIC. We presented at RHA. We went out and spoke to some of the residents that live along Park Avenue, and got a lot of good feedback from the community. Part of the feedback that we got was, let's look somewhere else. Let's find some other location and not along Park Avenue, further on the east side of the neighborhood, or down on Lenox Street, or at Ducatel Park, or German Park is more centrally located, Madison Park here in the north side of the neighborhood, maybe potentially along North Avenue. But we did find in that survey that RHIC sent out that 86% of the respondents do support public EV chargers in the neighborhood. So we took all that feedback, and we tried to look at all those locations that people suggested to see what could work according to the city criteria. And we did find that there is an opportunity here at German Park. And again, here's Linden Avenue and here's Whitelock Street. So this would be on the southern end of German Park, close to the farm. And actually it's quite right below the basketball courts. This is where they would be getting the power from. There would be a small, kind of like a refrigerator kind of size unit here inside the park. And then it would, if we went forward with this proposal, then there would be space for 4 EV chargers along here. Here's another view of it. This is Whitelock Street. Again, we're looking north to German Park. So this area is unrestricted parking. Anyone can park here. The bus stop is further down the street, so it wouldn't interfere with the bus stop. And the proposal is for 2 level 2 chargers. So to go back to what I was talking about, charging at home, if you just plug your EV into your outlet at home, that's a level 1 charge. That could take up to 10, 12, maybe more hours to fully charge your vehicle, depending on your vehicle. A level 2 is the next step up for electric vehicles. That charging is faster, and it can fully charge an electric vehicle in about 4 hours. Again, depending on the vehicle. There is another level, level 3 or a fast charger. Those chargers are a lot more expensive to put in the ground and to work, because they work a lot faster. They're faster for the people purchasing the electricity as well. I mean, they're more expensive for the people purchasing electricity. It's more expensive to use them. they can fully charge a vehicle in about 20 minutes or half an hour. Because of those differences, the state of Maryland is recommending inserting those fast chargers in places that are like stops off of a highway where people are traveling between cities or between states, like kind of coming up from Florida to go up to New York, so that they would stop on the side of the highway, you know, for a very fast charge and then move on. But in this neighborhood, more residential neighborhood setting, the recommendation is these level 2 chargers that, you know, you could come home from work, charge your vehicle here for a few hours and then pick it up after dinner, or if you're working at home during the day, to charge it in the morning and then go pick it up at lunch, that kind of thing. Here's a quick look at what the equipment looks like. This is the meter pedestal, or called a millbank cabinet, or the support equipment that would be, just to show you again, that would be placed here on the interior of the park. And again, Parks and Rec would be very involved in the placement of this equipment so that it did not disturb the trees in the area. And then these are the actual chargers. The particular chargers may not have these kind of cranes up here. I'm not sure what you call these antenna sticking up, but it would be a unit that's about this size. It's about the size of a parking meter, and it has 2 cords, two plugs. So that again, this would be for parallel parking on the street. So there would be one, you know, you could have one car here to the right of the charger using this cord, and then you can have another car to the left of the charger using this cord, and then 2 more with the next charger. So that would be 4 total spaces. Again, along here, that would be dedicated for electric vehicle charging. Okay. Here's my contact information, but again, I hope that I can answer any questions, or Tim and I can answer some questions and get some feedback, and then hopefully we can, if people are amenable to have a vote.
Hi, can I speak? Lauren Muhammad.
Yes.
So I garden out of the RHIC garden that is directly where you're placing the EV chargers. Next to that is the White Lock Farm.
Mm-hmm.
Across from that is the Peace Garden, which is the south side of White Lock Farm. And then next to the garden is German Park. That is a highly trafficked area. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm visiting the farms, I rely on that space to be able to transport stuff from my car to the garden and vice versa. I don't have an electric car, so I only see how it would impede how I move, and that's just me. So there are at least 30 gardeners that garden in that lot, and we hold each other down as far as parking, because there is a bus stop on each side of the street, and there's often activity at St. Francis because they work with kids and they do events. And that's very valuable parking to be taken away from the general public. That's just my thought. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So as we move through the discussion, and thank you so much, Christmas Sage. Sorry for mispronouncing your name so often. Can we limit the discussion to any questions or clarifications or points that you want to make that you feel like will help people make a decision? Because we do want to end this meeting with a vote on how we feel about this particular location. So I would thank you for your point, Lauren, and I see a couple questions in the chat that I would like to ask on behalf of Linnell. Linnell asked, would the location block wheelchair access in any way? I'm assuming that's wheelchair access to the park, Linnell?
Yes.
That's a great question. I do not see an ADA ramp into the park at that location where, are you aware of an ADA ramp that's right where the German Park sign is?
I'm not. However, that doesn't mean that wheelchair access wouldn't be an issue. I just know that I had a son who used a wheelchair, and that looked like a prime entrance to get right into the area. I'm also wondering if somebody had a wheelchair van and you needed longer space, if you're taking up 4 spaces, I'm just curious how that would be impacted. Same question for strollers though.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. The other entrance is off the one-way street of Linden. Yeah. Right. We did, I mean, the choice of location here is partly in relation to the gardens, to move it offset so that the people could get direct access to the gardens. I see your point about that's that wide sidewalk there into the main park. You know, that may be something that potentially we could, again, what I showed was two chargers that would each service 2 cars. If they're separated so that there's a space in between them, that access right at that extra wide sidewalk, maybe that would be a workaround there that would allow for drop off right at that location. And the EVs wouldn't be interfering with that.
I just wanted to pull up a picture. It's kind of blurry, but of where the site is, so you can kind of get a sense of where that entranceway is. And so I can see what Linnell is saying is that might be a prime entryway for wheelchair accessibility into the park. Okay, so another point that was made in the chat is a question from Brittany Sink. Can the spaces be located 20 to 50 feet east of the proposed location in front of German Park? Only because it sits in front of the park entrance, and if I had an EV, I would be concerned with parking on the curb in the road in case of someone drifting out of the lane.
So moving the spaces east wouldn't that be directly in front of the gardens, the community garden and Whitelock Street Farm?
It would. Actually, I think, I don't know if this picture helps a little bit, Brittany, but I think that would be more in the curve, but I might be wrong. Lauren would be really familiar because I know she's always parking out in front of here, but I think this is before the curve. I think.
That is before the curve.
Okay.
It's what Linnell said, it's right in front of the entrance to German Park.
That's right. That's right.
And so it's like taking up the German Park spaces. It's like, if you look at the red line, all of that's German Park. We're having the event June 26th at German Park. A lot of people are going to drive to the event. Where we're going to park in the future. Do you know what I mean? Because we have bus stops, we have residential people on Linden. This is prime parking space for when we have our events in the Healing Garden or at German Park.
Okay. So I'm gonna continue on just so that we can get to everyone's points, because I know that we're already at time. Jean Slother Hudnell, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, commented that North Avenue would be pretty bad right now, maybe better after it gets redeveloped. German Park seems like a good idea though, generally. And we have agreement from Devin Sutherland. And
Although I agreed earlier with the previous comment.
Oh, sorry.
About
okay.
it not being a great space for it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, thank you for correcting me. And then Jean went on to say that the sidewalk might need to be widened a little there, I guess, to help with pedestrian pathways. So could that be also a part of, if we were to approve tonight, or if Reservoir Hill as a community were to support the EV charger, would it be possible that the sidewalk also be widened in order to support pedestrian traffic into that park?
Yes, we would be committed to that there would be, wheelchair access around the EV chargers, so that the sidewalk is wide enough to accommodate ADA access in all areas of the park. So in certain locations that this has come up, the BGE and the contractors have talked about extending the sidewalk into the grassy area around the charger. So there's like kind of like a bump out into the park, making the sidewalk wider. So yes, we have discussed that kind of eventuality if that's needed. So yes, I feel strongly that BGE would be willing to do that if that's needed here.
And Chris, I wanted to bring up a point that we went over in the PDC meeting, which is about events, because that's something that Lauren is concerned, and a lot of neighbors are concerned about, because Whitelock is one of our main thoroughfares for events. And one thing that you noted was that for our larger, like very large scale events like Juneteenth or other festivals that might occur on Whitelock, we might be able to have an agreement with BGE and the parking authority to have temporary waves of those waivers so that people could park in those spots for special events. Is that still the case, or were you able to get any more information?
Right, we talked this over. It seems that the current avenue that you all would already be using to host a special event in the park, like I'm sure your Juneteenth, you worked with DOT to get a special events permit that allows you to, like, put a moon bounce on the street, or to bring food vendors to the space that wouldn't normally be able to be there. That special events permit is, neighborhood associations get a reduced rate for filing that kind of permit. And then that allows you to get those kinds of services like street closures and the rest. So this would be part of that process. That would be, if you had access to the street through that special events permit, EVs wouldn't be able to park there, because there would be DOT signs saying, this is going to be used on this date for this event.
Okay. Thank you. And then Devin, did you want to talk about your comment, or do you want me to just read it for you?
Oh, no, I was just thinking, because I know you guys were talking, but I was just thinking, like, the tune-up city buildings right down Whitelock and out of the way. Like, I don't really know all the goings on in it, but because of it being a driveway, a space that's further down from to me, a centrally located hub that a lot of people use, I feel like that might be an option. And I'm sorry I didn't get the survey to contribute to it, so I don't know how the spots were chosen. Like, of the entire neighborhood, that spot right there being the one. I mean, me personally, if I feel like having electric cars or having cars parked there could be problematic in a few ways, or a couple of ways, especially for people who may not necessarily hang out in the neighborhood a lot, but park their car, but then talk about somebody hanging around their car. It's a centrally located spot near the bus stop, near the park, where people leave the spin cycles. So it's just, I don't know. I feel uneasy about that. So I feel like another space like the tune-up city building might be beneficial or something to consider.
Thank you, Devin. And I think the reason why we were really excited about Chris coming tonight and presenting again to us is that we wanted to make sure that everyone had the ability to give feedback. And we wanted to make sure that whatever polling that we were doing of the community was actually representative of people that live in the community and how they feel about things. So we are really hoping to either narrow down tonight whether or not we're in support of this particular location. If there is another location that we'd want to explore, or the third, whether or not people want EV chargers in the neighborhood at all. And so that's what the poll is tonight, that we're going to distribute in this meeting. So that, because, we've been working with Chris for months now. They've been doing a lot of work in the entire neighborhood to get a sense of what's going on. And I think the response has been a little bit all over the place. We don't have a good sense of what people's feelings are. And although there was like a high response rate to the RHIC poll, a lot of folks that might have taken that poll may not live in the neighborhood. And so we're trying to get a sense of what our neighbors think. So Chris, do you think there's anything else we should discuss before we launch that, or?
Just one more, just to respond to one more comment in the question in the chat. The Linden side of German Park, we did look at that location and we did not find the electric infrastructure there that's needed for chargers. So we could not do it on Linden. And then, sorry, there was another question about
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, thank you.
Having this in the neighborhood somehow prevent us from using the space as in the past. Will closing the street be harder? Again, my understanding is that, you know, filing a special events permit, you would get that space. That, you know, that would be just because that would effectively be you're using that space for your event, you know, because of an event in the park.
And Chris, I know this question wasn't asked tonight, but it is something that I've heard and kind of aligns with this line of questioning around Tune-Up City. There are a lot of vacant lots in our neighborhood, and some folks were proposing why not use an adopt a lot, or why not work with the city to use one of those vacant lots as a permanent location for a charging site. What do you say about that? Do you think that's even feasible, or is that just a whole different type of process?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. And we have in not only this neighborhood, but in other neighborhoods in the city, we've looked at vacant lots, and we've run into an issue of that these are often properties that the city is hoping to sell to developers. And then we're in a situation where if we put infrastructure there, if we put EV chargers there, someone buys the property and puts in a residential building, and then we have a conflict and we have to take out the EV chargers. You know, I'm not, I mean, I know the Tune-Up City building, but it's not currently active, is it? So, you know,
it's privately owned. It's not, no businesses are located in there yet, no.
Right, so again, to site in front of something like Tune-Up City, then a privately owned building, we would have to approach that owner and get their permission to do it. We couldn't, you know, just walk in and we're going to put an EV charger there in front of that building. And often those owners would have other designs on what's, you know, what they want to have happen there.
Did that conversation happen though, just to see?
Just to speak to Tune-Up City? No, we did not do that.
No, I'm saying, can that happen though?
Oh, if that's what the community wants us to do, yeah, we could certainly do that.
I'm a member of the community and I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm a member of the community and I'm in agreement.
There's been some difficulty contacting the owner of Tune-Up City because Kim Forsythe was to have given us some information regarding that. He's in the process, my understanding, of actually selling that property. So you're looking at a twisted affair to try to get that in, because he's going to sell the property. I don't know who he is, but that's what I heard. And then you have to reach out to the new person. So I don't know if that's feasible at this moment.
Okay, so if there are no other discussion points, questions, or things that you want us to keep in mind as neighbors, I'll go ahead and launch this poll. If this poll is inconclusive, what we'll do is we'll launch a larger poll for the entire membership so that we can get a response. But this is sort of informal, just so we can get a sense of how everyone is feeling. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. And you should see it on your screen. Do you support an EV charger on Whitelock near German Park? So the site that Chris just presented. And so you can either click yes, no, you prefer another location, or that you simply just do not support EV chargers in the neighborhood. So I'm hoping that everyone can take this. I'm going to abstain, of course. I'm assuming, Chris, you're going to abstain from taking the poll. So we're at 13. So we have about maybe 2 more people that haven't taken it. If you could just go ahead and click and make sure you submit your answer. Maybe you clicked the button, but you didn't submit yet. Okay. So actually, I might have the count wrong. Okay, yeah, we have everyone. I think we have 18 participants and 13 people have participated. Let me see if anyone is Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the poll because I'm assuming everyone who's hearing this has chosen and can vote as. And so can you see the results?
Yes.
Okay, so we have people mostly saying it's really close between preferring another location and simply approving this location. So since it's so close, Chris, I would feel more comfortable going ahead and putting an official poll out there for the entire membership. And then also allowing people in that poll to suggest another location if there is another location that they prefer. And hopefully we'll have a more conclusive result. I know I just don't feel comfortable calling it when it's just based on one individual vote difference. So that was, thank you so much, everyone, for participating and sharing your viewpoint. We're going to use this recording. Hopefully people can watch this before they submit their answers. Brittany, your hand is raised. Go ahead, yes. No, your hand isn't raised. Oops, okay.
Oops.
Oh, it's okay. I wanted to make sure you could speak. Oh, Arlen, your hand is raised for real. Okay.
Right. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that there are limited sites, and as was stated, it depends on the infrastructure that's already there. So, I mean, that has to be a key issue. If it's possible to have maybe a list of potential sites rather than just asking randomly, where would you like it to be? I think that would probably be more feasible.
That's such a great idea, Arlen, and also including all the work that's already been done, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel and have people proposing sites that have already been proposed, already been researched. And so, Chris, can I work with you to make sure that I have an appropriate poll for folks to take?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, right at this point, I can say that the potential sites are this German Park site or along Park Avenue north of Whitelock. But yeah, we can work on that. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to present again.
Thank you so much for your patience as we work this out democratically and honestly with each other.
Of course. Great. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. So we're going to end the meeting with the usual final bits of sorry, okay, there we go, our announcements. So very quickly, I will move through things that you should be looking forward to this month. And of course, we've talked about the Sustainable Workshop series that we're doing for the next 7 months. So we're in part 2. There'll be 5 more sessions, and it's no longer who killed the Chesapeake Bay, but who destroyed the Chesapeake Bay. And that's going to be on the 26th of June at 1 p.m. in German Park. Tomorrow, as was stated, is the community meeting for the Linden apartment building on 825 Druid Park Lake Drive. So please, 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 this is super important that you come and share your points of view on this. This is a huge development and it'll have a huge impact on the neighborhood. We're really trying to push for getting more commercial at the bottom of that building and really pushing for more responsiveness from the developer there. So please come and share your voice and your view when you attend. Very quickly, these are the things to look forward to. Tomorrow, there's also a movie night at the same time, talking about like conflicting things happening at Whitelock Community Farm. There's a free movie night that's happening at 7 p.m. The movie starts at 8:30 and there's going to be concessions. Like Arlen said, there's no Humana meeting this month to make way for the Linden apartment building presentation tomorrow. So make sure you note that in your calendars. The Dorothy I. Height Green Club is meeting on Thursday, as well as the Marketing and Communications meeting. Please remember that Juneteenth is going to really affect our neighborhood this weekend. So just be primed for that. There's going to be lots of traffic, lots of people trying to park in the neighborhood. So my advice to you is to hold on to your parking spot if you can. Between 11 a.m. on Saturday, I think, is when the festivities start, but I'm sure people will be heading out earlier. And that's going to be Saturday and Sunday in the park, and also Saturday on Madison. Is Madison closed, Arlen? Did it get officially closed? It's not. Okay.
No.
So there's going to be, it's not officially closed, but a lot is going to be going on Madison, and then also the Freedom Day celebration on Sunday that starts at 11 a.m. to 6 in German Park. The Reservoir Hill Community Partners Call is just a call of all neighborhood organizations. Please feel free to join. That's on Tuesday at 2 p.m. June 21st. At 7 p.m. we have our board of directors meeting that is everyone is welcome to attend. It's always open to our membership. The Green Committee again meets Thursdays at 12:30. On the 23rd, we have the Events Committee meeting as well at 7 p.m. And then on the 26th, we have that Community Sustainability Workshop. Planning and Development is meeting on the 27th. The West North Avenue Development Authority meets on the 28th, as is the RHIC Community Resource Meeting. And then we end out the month with the Dorothy Height Green Club meeting. So there is, Baltimore City is launching a guaranteed income pilot. If your family would qualify, you should sign up here at this link, bemorechildren.com/focus. Something similar is happening in a lot of states across the country and cities. And so if you're interested, please go there. The Arch Social Community Network is having a community cleanup on the 26th at 10 a.m. At the Arch Social Club. And please join us if you haven't already. If you're not a member, please go to our website and become a member today. And also feel free to email us if there are issues that came up in this meeting that you want more answers to, or you want more work done on. And that's it for tonight. This was a big meeting. Thank you so much for staying the whole time. And we will see you again next month. So without further ado, the meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.